Right, I'm making this because I feel like there's a need to at this point. Oh my god, it's fucking disastrous, pretty much. This is sorry for no gameplay, just looking at black screen for this, obviously just listen if you can listen. I know some people don't like my voice, but I can't change that. I've always spoken like this. I've even had speech therapy, so it doesn't work. So yeah, I'm talking about the controversies around Honkai Star Rail's Memory of Chaos. And it's like Aguilera E1 situation, technically speaking. I didn't talk about this before, but I did sort of talk about it in the Funny Moments video, at least with Aguilera. I only lightly mentioned the MOC thing. But it's gotten to a point now where it's actively embarrassing for the game that the community is now essentially straw manning people. But the main thing is that it seems to be a problem of how there's basic HP inflation and also with Aguilera, how her kit is pretty much underbaked. And this sort of brings me to a point where I wish we didn't have an endgame like this across Hoyoverse games because they fucking suck. Well, let's be honest, nobody enjoys them, and the only reason that we're toxic about it is because there's, well, rewards on the line. And these aren't even like small rewards, like you can probably pass on like more and stuff or currency, whatever. But you wouldn't pass on the premium currency like Stellar Jades or Prima Gems. And that's the problem. It's when you create that FOMO that it becomes a massive issue. And not only this, but I said this in a comment on one of the posts, I forgot what it was. But this wouldn't be a problem if you just go back to like previous version MOCs or whatever, like endgames and whatever. Do them as they were then, and own the rewards that way. No problem. Like seriously, that's not a bad thing at all. And to me, it's just fucking ridiculous that they aren't doing that. Because that would solve so many problems. It would even solve the problem with like character kits being underbaked. But who cares if you can just go like the Herta and like MOC 1.0 and instantly like 36 star it? Like who cares? Like you get to see HP inflation in action, but even then, at least you can go back and earn the rewards. That's really the point of this. So it's just like it's so dumb that we're in this sort of situation now. Um, and I wish that there was a better way, but I don't know if there is. And in like Genshin Impact, we're currently seeing like a rise in character damage. Like Mavika's basically set the standard for what a DPS character needs to do now. With like almost 1 million damage burst and like 100, 200k charge attacks. Like it's insane. And that's only going to be problematic because enemies are going to have to be tougher because of her. And that's bad. And I've always said this about the game. I've sort of said it in a different tone before. I've always said how you need to play the game as a player rather than a developer. Because can't say distinguish for some reason. But distinguishing things between those two, a player and a developer, is a developer is a controlled environment, whereas a player is basically us, the audience, which you should always be catering to. Like, no joke, I'm being serious, you should always cater to your audience. And then you won't have any problems because you'll see the issues like, okay, we're not enjoying the end game as a player. We better fix that. And if you also listen to players, that'd be even better. Because you can get some solid advice, you can get solid ideas. And it's not necessarily accredited to any specific one player. It could be multiple for all I know, and I've also got ideas of how to change it. But the main thing is that the end games and the characters that are going out just end up not being great, not being enjoyable at all. And I probably don't speak for most players, apparently, even though they do complain about it. But some of us just don't enjoy the endgame content, and that's fine. The only problem is that we only play it because we want to get the rewards. And you could just say, don't play it, but that's the problem. Well, we're playing the same game here, and we're not on an equal sort of footing here. That I'm not going to learn all the mechanics for an enemy when I'm doing other stuff that's more important in my life. Like, I'm not going to shit bucket the game, as we used to call it back in the day, like Battlefield Day and stuff. I'm not going to shit bucket myself and play the game to learn it. I'm just going to play it for the story and the characters. And I just simply don't have the time to learn all the mechanics. And if asking for like a more balanced version of the end game is too much to ask, then I don't think these developers should be making the game. As simple as that. Like, holy fuck, it's ridiculous. So, this leaves me with my solution. And I've had this solution since Genshin Impact started, really. I've taken when I started. And it's that with a steep endgame and like cost to like getting the resources to beat it, the simple solution, other than adding back previous content, is to rework the endgame. Simple. Rather than make it a fucking like absolute shit fest where you need the best characters, you need to make it linear. You need to make it on an even playing ground. So say like Honkai Star Rail, you could do this like a chess puzzle, for example, which is a great comparison, honestly, because it is a turn-based game as well, believe it or not. But with like a chess puzzle, you tend to have to try to checkmate in like a few turns and stuff. But there's nothing stopping like Honkai Star Rail from doing that. And so that's one of the solutions. Like just make a puzzle teaser or something. And that's far better because at least everyone's on the playing grounds. The other solution is trial characters, and have the trial characters basically be up to par with basically meta characters. But you only get to pick one trial character, and that should be the gimmick, I suppose, but still. You should be allowed one trial character in Memory of Chaos across both teams. So like just one for one team basically, but you can't have any on the other. And this will fix a lot of the problems, honestly, because not only do you get to pick basically a good DPS and have your supports all built, you pretty much never need to get a DPS character ever again. As long as they keep it updated, that's the thing though. But having all the characters at your fingertips and choosing one is great, and that would just help the game a lot. But there is one other solution, and yeah, this depends really. I think this other solution is actually probably a much better idea, just judging by how people respond to events. Because in Genshin Impact we had an event where you basically made a puzzle level, and it wasn't like stupid sort of puzzles and stuff. It was like you could actually think this out pretty well. You can make impossible puzzles. You can make some that just work really well. And I think they even fixed an issue with it where you could use any character you want and just beat it. So, for example, if you could beat it with Wanderer where nobody else has Wanderer, then they could still publish the puzzle, which sucked, and that was an exploit. But if you allow players to compete on the same playing ground, again, trial characters, then there wouldn't be a problem. And so, again, like, the problem comes down to all this FOMO, and this is the problem with the gacha model. Like, if Genshin Impact and Honkai Star and even DCC, which I haven't touched yet, move to like a subscription model, where you get access to all characters as like trials, for example, but you don't get to build them or change their kit, but they are good enough, and even like get newer characters from that as well, that's not really a problem, and you stop earning like currency. Like, I'd pick that up in an instant because I'll just play the game as a story rather than what this is. And a lot of the people are here playing it as a story, not the fucking endgame or even the gameplay necessarily. There are aspects to the gameplay that are good, but not all of it. In fact, it's far more embarrassing to play these games when I play games with much better quality, like Deep Rock Galactic, fucking amazing. Final Fantasy 14 even, it's really good. And yeah, it's also to do with time. Like, I spend like almost an hour doing the Honkai Star Rail endgame. It's so fucking grindy, it just doesn't need to be. And that's why we're left with this controversy, really. Because it's all a grind and we're all trying to get the same thing. And I just hate what's happening in the communities. To be honest, Hoyoverse communities have always sucked. But they just seem to be extraordinarily bad now. Genshin Impact was bad, but it seems to have calmed down. But Honkai Star Rail is all over the place. It's like one controversy after another. And now we're strawmanning people saying they don't understand mechanics. But the problem is, when we get these like fucking paragraph tutorials which I can't read because I just get overwhelmed. It's an autism thing. It's just impossible to learn. And that's why I don't have the time to learn. Why does the S in Genshin Impact look like the Shrek S? Why did I just realise that? Fuck's sake. ADHD moment as well. But yeah, it's all a massive mess and it's just unnecessary as well at times. Yeah, like, I want to see these games do better. The only way they can do better is if they listen to players and appeal to the audience. Yeah. Ugh. It's fucking gone long enough, I think. Yeah, thanks for listening, whatever. It's just my like thoughts on it. Oh wait, did I say what the end game was? I don't think I did. But yeah, the end game basically make it player made, make it so that the player can beat it, and if they can't, then I mean, like the creator. I mean, if the creator can beat it with those characters, then everyone else can pretty much. I guess acceptance is like to the T, but I think that's the problem that we're missing in this community. Where you can make community and like do rock galactic by just simply rocking and stoning, and you could be at the bar, even just joining in the cults and stuff. There's something that these games lack, and I see it having huge benefits. Like, you don't have that. Imagine if you added voice lines or even like incentives to even like do co-op, like even small things like Mora. Not necessarily like Primo Gems, where people probably won't touch it anyway. But yeah, also like community creativity and stuff. That's important for a game. Yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 wouldn't be as fun as it is without that. Deep Rock Galactic has pretty good modding scene overall, even though there's a bit of drama with like the creators and their like power ego shit or whatever. Just odd stuff, but still it's the community's game at this point, and that's what makes it so magical. And that's something that's sorely lacking from these games, which doesn't need to be a thing really. Like, so much drama could just be avoided if actual care was put into the games. Like, come on. I'm just fed up of this at this point, and yeah, I'd honestly hop onto like a story-driven version of the game if it meant giving money away the same amount that I'm giving away now to these games. Like bursting Welkin and whatever, and the Battle Pass. I'd much rather that sort of subscription model than to worry about the end game. You know, if you release a different version of the game, that's great. That would be much better, and I think a lot of people would appreciate it and enjoy it. Like hell, even if it was like I wouldn't call it a AAA game actually, despite the revenue being so fucking high. These aren't AAA games, and more like AA at most, and that's being generous because I've seen indie games that look much better and play much better. Yeah, if you sell these games at a reasonable price and then expand it, offer expansions, people will play it because people will just enjoy it. And if you allow them to mod it as well, like not have it strictly online, people would enjoy that as well. And I'd jump onto that instantly. I wouldn't care that I just wasted like hundreds of fucking pounds on these games. I'll just go to that instantly, replay all the content and get to the latest story and stuff, buy the expansion. That's a much better model. And you only know if it works until you try it. And you could always trial it, that's the thing. You have nothing to lose by trialing shit. And that's what's so fucking ridiculous about developers and publishers. You lose a lot of the profits that you could make, and that's really the damning thing about this. Like, you have no idea how economy works because you've never lived in a real person's shoes. It's so fucking bad. But yeah, as I said, I love a game without the end game. Without the characters and power creep and shit. It appeals to some people, but not to me. And I can almost guarantee it doesn't always appeal to like the general audience who are already complaining and playing the game, and even enjoying it for that matter. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and that's my thoughts on the situation and the solution. Player driven content would be great, even if it's like platforms and characters or whatever, enemies and stuff. There's different ways to do it, and simply put, Hoyoverse, stop being fucking stupid.